Let's take a look at our unit on adding and subtracting proper fractions with uncommon denominators. In this unit, students are learning that rewriting fractions so they have the same denominator is a procedure used when adding and subtracting. In the first week, students work with related fractions, meaning that the denominator of one fraction is a multiple of another. So they can change one fraction or find an equivalent with a common denominator by only changing one. In this case, they have 4/6 and 1/3. Students would manipulate the model to show 2/6, and now both fractions have a common denominator. As they progress through the week, they start entering the numbers, and then the models are created. They use that understanding to add and subtract. In this equation, students have to find the difference for 3/4 minus 1/2. They use the model to get a common denominator of fourths by changing the 1/2, and then they can complete the equation. They move on to understanding that there is a procedure they can use, and they've done this previously. So now they're going to work with a one fraction procedure. Here they have a fraction, 1/1, that they're going to change to 3/3 in order for having the model show a common denominator of 6. They take that understanding and once again apply it to equations, using the procedure rather than the model this time in order to find common denominators. In topic 2 or week 2, they start working with numbers only as the models fade. They work extensively with the one fraction procedure, finding an equivalent fraction for one of the fractions in order that both have a common denominator. And as they progress, they're required to do more and more of the work on their own. They also work with estimating placement of expressions on a number line, whether they are greater than or less than one whole. And they move into numbers only with unknowns. In the third week, they move away from related fractions and they start the procedure again with working with unlike fractions. In this case, 1/2 and 1/3. Students must manipulate both models to show a fraction with common denominators. And again, they take that understanding and they move into working with procedures. First with the model, and then they apply the one fraction procedure in order to solve the problem. Here they've changed both models and written the fractions so they both have a common denominator of tenths, and then they can solve the equation. In the fourth week, students use what they've learned to solve more challenging problems. They learn that addition and subtraction of fractions can be used to solve a variety of problems. In this example, they're working with expressions and they're comparing them to benchmark fractions. They also work with examples that are challenging them to solve for unknowns. Like our other units, each topic in this unit has a tool investigation. These investigations are three-tiered problems in which students move from more convergent to divergent examples. In this case, they're solving a word problem. They take and create the models, label the models, write the expression, and solve for the problem. By the third level, they're writing their own problems. Like our other units, we also have a real-world investigation. This investigation provides students with information about a camp mid-river, and students have to create flags for each of the cabins. Each cabin is given a certain amount of fabric in different colors. At first, they only can create using the fabric that's given to them. In the second tier, they're given more open-endedness. And by the end of this real-world investigation, students are setting up their own camp program with different cabins and designing flags for each of those cabins.